Bohemian Grove. This is 2,700 acres that was purchased way back in the 1800s. All the Republican presidents since 1923 have come here, together with a number of Democratic presidents. They have a 45-foot owl in there in which they do a sacrifice in front of. They use a human effigy. It's called the cremation of care, so they can knock out their conscience and go out there and rule the world any damn way they want.
What we have here is, this is where the Manhattan Project was created, yes. They dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the two most Christian cities in all of Japan. They dropped the bomb about 3 months after the Japanese had asked for conditional surrender. I had a personal meeting with a general who said that his commander knew about the Japanese surrender. They delayed the end of the war. The reason that they dropped the bomb, or both bombs, was an experiment on human beings. This is after the Japanese had offered conditional surrender. They dropped the bomb, incinerating about 250,000 people. This was after the Japanese had offered surrender.
They bombed Dresden instead of IG Farben. The same thing was occurring on the opposite sides of the world. They were going after the civilian kill.
Now, why did they do this? Because they wanted to usher in the United Nations. They wanted to put forth a weapon so horrible, that we would have a United Nations to bring about peace to all people for all time. And guess who was behind all of this? Those who wanted to establish a world currency. And who is in the world currency? The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, they want to expand it to a world currency. They want a global currency, and they're talking about introducing the Amero to end the US dollar. That's why the dollar is being destroyed. And there's two guys out here who understand this. They understand that the Fed wants it all. They want to destroy the American dollar to introduce the Amero and eventually introduce the world currency. They want it all. At this point in this country, they own it all.
Let's be specific. The American dollar doesn't exist. What does exist is a piece of paper that says dollar on it, that's a Federal Reserve note, that's property of the Federal Reserve Bank. So they've already done it. It's a done deal.
The guys over here at the Bohemian Grove, they come over here and they meet, they plan, they think about the world. And they think, world? Let's own the world.
They already do. Now the issue is controlling every person on the planet from cradle to grave. Ron?
Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. One currency worldwide is efficient. Several currencies, even owned by the same person or same entity, is not efficient. So this is what they're trying to do, is group the currencies together in the Amero.
I think Robert's mentioned about cradle to grave. They're going to make that, they're expediting that trip on a midnight special. They're not planning on having an industrial base for the American worker to work at. They've been closing it down and shipping it offshore. They're destroying reservoirs via the Sierra Club, the mask, the green hand, the iron hand, and the green velvet glove. Under the guise of ecology, they're grabbing control of virtually every village and hamlet under the guise of Agenda 21, which is the United Nations Accord with the Rio Conference.
Now,
they're taking over locally and internationally.
Let me make a comment, though.
Sure.
I'm a holistic physician. I'm an environmentalist. I'm just going to say it straight. I'm an environmentalist. I do believe in preserving the world's ecology. But here's a group of people who are under the guise of the Sierra Club and global warming, etc., are talking about sparing this planet change, yet they are the ones who own Monsanto, who are doing GMO and putting poisons on your food, depleting the soils. These are the same people who were talking about preserving the planet when they're absolutely destroying it. They have already unleashed probably the greatest environmental plague ever known to the planet, and that's genetically altered organisms.
You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. How could anybody, if they knew what the Federal Reserve was all about, support this system which enslaves all of us, and if they knew that all of these guys met at all the people from the evil-archy, the Kissingers, they meet here, the former presidents. What is your take? You're here. Is this not a symbol of some sort of satanic rituals? What's your opinion?
If you are a Christian or know your word and read your Bible, then you will know that this is clearly satanic.
The remedy is we have these in our wallets and we have it in our bank accounts. We need to exchange our own currency for that currency. We don't have to back our currency up right now. But every dollar out there in a Federal Reserve note, we need a printed dollar from either the U.S. Treasury or the states creating their own monetary system. A good thing about law and about government is this idea, this principle of checks and balances. The more monetary systems there are, let's say we have 50 different jurisdictions, we have California and all the way to Minnesota to New York. If each state created their own monetary system based on the same commodity
And the same weights and measures.
Same weights and measures.
We would have a check and balance and control of our monetary system from this point on. So we need to exchange every one of those Federal Reserve notes for our own notes, turn around and burn every one of those.
How do you set yourself free?
Burn it.
How do you set yourself free? Burn the burn! You're going to step up right now. Break them out. Let's see them. Come on. Get them out of your pocket. Let's go. Hold them up. Do you love this? Do you worship this? Do you grovel on your knees for this? Burn Mueller. Add yours to the fire. Go ahead and come on. Jump on up. Slowly monopoly money. Step on them. Burning the pyramid. You feel free? You feel free? You feel free? Let it go. Show me your feet if you don't go to king.
Even at the very least, burning Federal Reserve notes and exchanging what you burn for U.S. Treasury notes.
Non-interest bearing.
Non-interest bearing, because if it's interest bearing, it can never, ever be paid back.
I don't know if the American people are aware, but President Kennedy, he took out the Federal Reserve notes, put in the silver certificate, and when he got assassinated, Lyndon B. Johnson put back in the Federal Reserve notes. Pay attention to what these gentlemen are talking about when they're saying that they have it all.
This nation is in a real state of disarray. I read things where there are people who think there could be violence on the streets, possibly some type of revolution. This is not what we want. We want a peaceful change to an honest and honorable society. I agree with what Rena said. Get this video. Make copies of it. We don't care if you bootleg it. Spread it to people. If millions of people get this and they realize the truth, there is one Achilles heel in the armor of the beast. We're calling the beast the bankers. There's one Achilles heel. To convict somebody of a crime, still requires a trial by jury. All it takes is one informed juror, you, to know the truth, and they will never again be able to get another conviction for a crime that they invented. People shouldn't go to jail for a fabricated regulation violation where no one was injured.
You can make 1 million of these tapes because we want 1 million of these tapes out there.
Okay.
Because we want to incite a revelation to avoid a revolution. Otherwise, we're all going to be enslaved. We're not a nation that's half slave, half free, but we're a nation that's all slave. We have to have our own currency in our own country.